You close the trap door again before you leave. The magic carpet is a beautifully woven Persian rug with a colorful fringe on the ends. The carpet is There's not enough room to use the carpet here. There's not. You get. In your keenness to locate the second gem, you nearly forgot about the birth gem, which is still at Hagatha's cave. You had best retrieve it before continuing your quest, lest it fall into the wrong hands. You cannot remove the birth gem while the blue... You strike the skull with all your strength, and it shatters easily. The birth gem clatters to the ground, along with a multitude of bone fragments. You reacquire the birth gem. 'Tis beyond. You cannot use the carpet. You can. You have run in. You unroll the magic carpet, lay it on the ground, and sit on it. The carpet begins to rise skyward. As you ascend higher, you realize that the carpet is beyond your control. It glides through the air on a seemingly predetermined course. The snake lashes out your history. You dangle the shimmering opal in front of the snake. It soon falls hypnotized in typical snake fashion. The snake snaps out. It's too dark. You flip through the book entitled Ye Old Book of Enchantments, Causes and Cures. The first half contains a list of enchantments. These do not interest you, as you have no desire to inflict inconvenience upon others. However, the Cures section does capture your curiosity. While browsing, you spy a promising paragraph. You can't use that there. You have better things. You never did pay much attention during magic classes at Daventry High School. Some incredibly valuable furniture has been. An ancient book lies. You approach the workbench for a. You toss the sickly yellow flower into the beaker. You toss the earrings into the beaker. You strike the blade of your sword against the flint stone. It sparks, and the wick catches alight. You watch, fascinated, as the two unlikely objects melt under the heat of the magical flame. You stir the mixture carefully with a white feather. It soon dissolves in the hot liquid. Nothing. This item, it appears to be an. It's as sharp. You manage to dislodge the crystal that had been set within the hilt of the sword almost a millennium ago. You feel a tinge of guilt and wonder what all the past monarchs of Daventry would say if they saw you damaging ancient crown property. You drop the crystal in and watch, amazed, as the green liquid slowly seeps into it.
Heed now these words: crystal, perfect. Green is thy hue. Restore, correct. Guard well my form. Preserve, protect.
You recite the words correctly, line for line, and sure enough, only a brilliant emerald remains in the glass beaker. You quickly blow the flame out so as not to overheat the emerald and cause damage to it. Picking it up gingerly, you're amazed that the emerald took virtually no time at all to cool. As you direct the sun's light through the emerald at the snake, you behold a wondrous transformation. Before you now stands a magnificent winged horse.
Thank you for freeing me. A horrid enchanter transformed me into that legless thing after I refused to be his steed.
You unroll the magic carpet, lay it on the ground, and sit on it. The carpet rises into the air again. The carpet begins to descend. You have come upon a quick that is, despite what, that is, that is, you have run in, that is not, that is, that is, that, that is, that is, that, that is, that, you have, that is, that is, that, you have run into an You bend over and hold the emerald above the stone so that the sun's light channels through it. Incredible! The rock has transformed into a silver-studded bridle. You take the bridle. You unroll. As you reach down to get the carpet, you have no reason.
That was quite a gamble, to refuse an enchanter.
True, but I could not have accepted, even if I had wanted to. For I am a disciple of the cloud, and can serve no land dweller.
Disciple of the cloud? What does that mean?
First, tell me of what you seek up here.
You take a deep breath, then explain about the door of destiny the gems of nature, and your present quest to locate the growth gem.
So, you seek the air gem?
Yes, that is right. You know of it?
Most certainly. But you will not be able to reach it by any means available to you or any of your kind. I would gladly take you to it, but alas, the enchanter took and hid from me my bridle. Without it, we could search for 1,000 years and still never find the cloud spirit.
You slip the bridle over the horse's head. It whinnies its approval.
Come, climb upon my back. Hold on. This will be a little exhilarating.
The disciple of the cloud gracefully soars high into the sky. You grip the reins tightly and hold on for dear life as he swoops and dips between the clouds. After a time, he draws near to a thick patch of luminous mist. As you pass through it, the horse sets itself down, seemingly on top of a cloud.
It is all right. You can dismount now.
Believing that you have finally lost all sense of reason, you dismount and prepare for a very long drop. And find yourself standing on a cloud.
What is this spirit you speak of?
The essence of what you seek. It passes through us as we grow, all through our lives, though few are ever aware of it. You will know soon enough.
Why do you choose to serve this cloud spirit?
It is my destiny, and I must fulfill it, just as you must fulfill yours.
I was not aware that I had one.
All of us have a destiny. Some are predestined, others are determined by choice. I believe yours to be of the latter.
How is it possible that I can stand upon thin air?
Such are not the questions you should be asking. You have come for the air gem, or the growth gem as it was once named by the ancients. It has not been termed thus without reason, for one who would have the gem as his own must prove himself grown and thus worthy of it.
Meaning, no disrespect.
Cloud Spirit.
Thank you. You must agree, Cloud Spirit, that I am a man fully grown, thus fulfilling your prerequisite.
A howling wind deafens you momentarily, though you feel nothing on your skin. The cloud spirit speaks again, a little more forcefully.
It is not enough that you have grown in body. That much is evident. It must be proven that you have also grown in both mind and soul. So on these shall you be tested.
Tested?
Those who bear the burden of king are expected to possess certain qualities. Your actions will be judged against the weight of these. It shall be seen whether you are deserving of your title. It shall be seen whether you are worthy of the growth gem.
After a moment of silence, the cloud spirit intones,
Behold your first test.
The mist around you clears, and you find yourself in a familiar place. This is Daventry, and furthermore, you are a child again. A slight dizziness overwhelms you for an instant. How strange, you no longer recall anything past this moment in time. It is as if this is happening again for the first time. Even stranger, you are still vaguely aware that you are undergoing a test of some kind, though for what purpose, you cannot fathom. But look, it is Malvolio, your best friend. The two of you are deeply engrossed in a game of bat and ball.
Ouch!
Uh-oh! That sounds like the king now! What do we do?
You there.
Yes?
Yes? Is that how you address your liege?
No, your majesty, King Edward, sir. I mean, sire.
Which of you two boys threw that ball? The one that just happened to land on my head? I have asked you both a question. Silence is considered a response equal to impertinence.
You summon all your courage and speak up.
Your majesty, if you please. It was I who hit the ball over the castle wall. It was my fault completely. Please don't punish my friend.
The king eyes you carefully. You wonder if you are now in serious trouble.
I would not punish one for something so trivial. However, I will see you play your game elsewhere, away from here.
Yes, sire.
One more thing, my young fellow. You have demonstrated good character today by taking the blame for your friend. The finest knights in this realm demonstrate their compassion by protecting others, even if that should mean putting themselves at risk. I find that to be a rare quality in the many I meet. When you have grown up, I hope to see you again, perhaps in my service.
Thank you, your majesty.
Behold your second test.
You feel yourself growing older, more so than before the tests began. Again, dizziness overcomes you. Your memory of the previous test fades, and in its place, your mind is filled with the knowledge of everything that has since come to pass. This includes, unfortunately, the dreadful misfortunes which have plagued Daventry since the coming of the terrible three-headed dragon. To make things worse, your 17-year-old daughter has been demanded as its latest sacrifice. In return, it will not harm the rest of the population until the next demand. You would go forth to destroy the dragon yourself, but you no longer have the heart for such quests. Never have you felt so forlorn, so frail. You fear that given the choice, you would do anything to rectify the situation.
A charming view. No wonder you come here so often.
You. I will see you hanged for this intrusion. Guards! Guards!
Calling them will do you no good. For even if they come, they will find their king speaking to only the air he breathes.
A pox on thee! Who are you?
My name, my true name, has been heard by none for nigh on a millennium. It is enough that you know me as the Father.
Then say what you have come to say and be gone.
You never were one for small talk.
You cursed my family. As a result, that dragon is now loose upon the land and one of my children was kidnapped.
Now that is not quite the truth.
Do you deny your involvement?
Not at all. It is just that you have omitted so much.
Speak and be gone.
Very well. I want your crown.
You cannot believe what you have just heard. This vile creature has caused untold misery throughout your land for nearly 18 years and has now infiltrated your castle just to ask that you hand over your authority to him? Of all the outrageous!
Is that what this is all about? You want to rule Daventry?
What would I want with a puny little kingdom when in a few short years I will have more power than Legitimor himself? No, I want only the thing you wear atop your head. Your crown. It is an essential part of my plan. Without it, my efforts to prepare for the ascension will have been in vain. I have waited far too long to be deterred from it now.
If you need it that badly, you could have just taken it. You had plenty of opportunities.
Are you completely ignorant of the legends of your predecessors? None can possess the crown of the first king unless it's given.
If you think for one moment that I would...
Before you speak further, consider this. In exchange for what I ask, I shall lift my curse and all that it entails from you and your blighted land. You shall have both it and your family restored in full. Minus your title, naturally.
Your mind reels at these words. For almost 2 decades, a countless number of innocent people have suffered under the afflictions Daventry has had to endure. So many more people would continue to suffer indefinitely, notwithstanding the pain you feel over your own family's misfortune. With a simple statement, you could put an end to it all.
To give you my crown would signify a change of leadership, so says the law of this land. It also says that the crown is to be worn only by those with the highest regard and intent for Daventry. So, to give it to such a vile being as you would betray the honor and memory of all the past kings who have worn it. No, I will not do it.
Not even for the sake of your family?
There are some principles for which even one's family must be sacrificed.
The man appraises you as a scientist would a unique specimen.
What an intriguing set of morals you have, King Graham. I always look forward to the time when you will put aside your obligations here and seek me out. I have foreseen that we shall meet again.
Behold your third test.
Once again, you feel yourself age. You are many years older now, though still, thankfully, King of Daventry. As before, the knowledge of the previous test ebbs from your mind. This time, however, it is filled with a greater knowledge of all that has come to pass thus far. Many years have passed. Your children, once heirs to your throne, have forged their own paths in other kingdoms. Fortunately, chance has seen fit to fill the vacuum. Following the restoration of the Mask of Eternity, Daventry now has a new champion.
How do you feel?
I am deeply honored, sire.
All right. Now how do you really feel?
Scared out of my wits, sire.
You smile and feel the lines in your face stretch. You hope you'll get used to it when the true time comes.
You know what they've been saying. About my decision, that is.
The people question my ability to perform the duties when I have another higher obligation. I believe that I can attend to both with the utmost equity.
You do not deny that this obligation may arise at any moment, perhaps taking you away from this country at a time of great need?
Of course not, sire, but I shall deal with that troll, as they say, when I cross that bridge.
And there is the matter of you not being of royal birth. That does not sit comfortably with some of the nobles.
The qualities of truth, light, and order can shine from even the most impoverished of souls. Nobility is defined through one's actions, not one's lineage, Your Majesty.
You cannot help but smirk. For a man who had once lived as a peasant, he speaks extremely well.
Kneel. Your sword. By virtue of your bravery, loyalty, and good conscience, I have chosen you to be my first knight. Thus you are my successor and heir to this throne. Arise, Sir Connor of Daventry.
In an instant, you find yourself standing before the Cloud Spirit once more. You also notice that it is starting to get dark.
You have demonstrated your sound understanding of compassion, honor, and loyalty. These attributes transcend the mind and speak of the soul within you. Growth continues unabated throughout the lives of all living things. You have grown much, learnt a great deal, and will continue to grow in all ways. You are judged worthy of the Heir and Growth Gem.
You take the Growth Gem. As you feel the knowledge of the last test fade from your mind, the cloud beneath your feet begins to evaporate. You'd better get out of here quickly, Graham. Finally, your flight comes to an end. You hope that it will be quite a while before you take to the air again.
Where would you like me to land?
On the ground would be fine.
Take this sugar cube. It will protect against the poisonous growth of this land. Fare thee well.
You notice you have lost a few things during your descent, mostly all that paper you were carrying. You are not concerned, though, as long as you don't get into trouble for littering. As dusk sets in and the pallid moon rises above the darkened horizon, you recall the Door of Destiny's words regarding the third gem, through swampy mire, in lone dark castle. Then you remember the great Neptune's disquiet reluctance to speak of Kalima's lord. You sense a growing unease that this final gem may not be the easiest to acquire. Finding the door unlocked and unbarred, you enter the church. You look over the Bible, which appears to be many decades old. You open it and find that an otherwise blank page at the front has been written on. It is dated over 20 years ago. You return the Bible to where you found it. You also notice that a page from the Bible has fallen onto the floor. You are pleased your adventuring You pick up the fallen page and read it. The words appear to have been written recently. Seeking not well without night, sleeping while sun shining white. Feeling humbled, you kneel down to pray. You rise again after a few moments. The monk stirs, stands, and turns to face you.
Father, I go now to a place of darkness. While I am stout of heart, the path laid down before me is unclear. I seek only the knowledge that my passage be illuminated by heavenly favor, and a prayer that I may make it through.
The monk gives you a reassuring smile and pats you on the shoulder. He then lifts a silver cross from around his neck and places it in your hands.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my child.
You can talk?
Of course.
I thought monks were forbidden from speaking.
Not all churches follow the same rules, and this church is quite unique.
Really? How so?
The monk just smiles placidly at you. Without warning, a pair of wolves. For a minute there, you thought those wolves were going to attack. Curious as to why they didn't, you decide to follow them. You see the monk standing alone outside the church. Then you notice the two wolves approaching him. You are about to yell a warning to the monk, but the words die in your throat as the man steps forward and pats the wolves' heads.
No, my brothers, we must not hurt him. Not yet. He will go to the heathen's abode. He will do what needs to be done. What if he does not? Then, my brothers, we will complete the task before us. The one we began many
Years ago.
You quickly move away from the church, your heart racing faster with every step. You have a good idea now what will happen once the moon comes out in full, and you do not want to be anywhere near here when it does. One thing's for sure, you're not getting married in that church. There's not much.
Oh, sir, have you seen my little granddaughter? She ventured to the town to buy food for me, but has not yet returned. I fear she may be in peril. The forest is not safe at night.
You hear the sound of a child sobbing nearby. As you approach, you recognize the child. It is Possum, the little girl you helped earlier today.
Are you all right? What happened?
I went into town to buy some chicken soup for my grandma. I always try to reach home before dark, but this eve I lost my way and was attacked.
Attacked? A wolf attacked you?
No, not by a wolf, a dwarf.
For a moment, you're not sure that you heard correctly.
A dwarf, did you say?
Uh-huh. He jumped out at me, took my food, and then ran away.
Listen, I'm going to try to find this dwarf that you say stole your food. You get back to your grandma, understand?
Possum nods, says a soft thank you, and heads back home. You rap on the treehouse door and wait a moment, but get no response. You watch as a little man runs out of the door, which has been built into a tree. You surmise that you have found the culprit's home. The vague aroma of chicken soup confirms it. That fiend! Finding the door ajar, you cautiously open it and step inside the tree. Upon opening the trunk, you find a number of items that the dwarf has obviously stolen and stashed away. Among them are some gold coins. They display the distinctive face of the first king. They could only have come from the magic chest of Daventry. You grab the handle of the bubbling pot of chicken soup. You take it with you. The door is... You hear the latch fall into place again as the door closes behind you. It is a mailbox. This is the first time you have ever set eyes upon one, which isn't surprising. The postal system won't be invented for another few centuries to come. The residents of this land must either possess clairvoyance or just simply be ahead of their time.
Welcome. Come in, please. Possum told me to expect you.
You place the now cold chicken soup over the crackling fire once more. After it heats up to eating temperature, you remove it again. You offer the soup to Possum's grandma, introduce yourself, and wait courteously while the frail elderly lady eats the nourishing meal. When she is finished, she sets the empty bowl down elsewhere and turns her attention towards you.
If you would like to speak with me for a while, I would welcome your company. A person should never turn away a visitor, especially when she reaches the twilight of her life.
You can't help but feel a sense of finality in the old woman's words.
You must have something in return for your kindness. You do not need to risk your safety for an old, worn-out woman like myself. Look under the bed. You should find something to keep you a little warmer on a cold night like this.
It is a simple yet... You peer under the bed and find a thick black cloak. Lying atop it is a beautiful ruby-encrusted ring. You pick both up with reverence.
I could not possibly take these fine things from you.
Oh, please. I want you to have them. Nights in Kolima are cold, believe me. As for the ring, well, perhaps it is better that I do not have it to remind me.
As you wish. You have a charming young granddaughter.
Grandma smiles at you graciously.
She is a treasure to me. I would do anything to ensure that no harm comes to her.
If I may inquire, what became of her parents?
Grandma frowns, and her eyes darken for a moment before she forces a melancholy smile to her face.
They were lost to us many years ago. I am afraid dear Possum never really knew her parents.
It must have been a daunting task raising a child by yourself, especially at your
At my age? I am certainly not as young as I used to be, and there is no shame in that. I have tried to raise her as best I could, to keep her safe and well. However, I fear that as of late the reverse has become truer.
If you please, I was hoping you might tell me of the cloak and ring's origin.
The old woman closes her eyes as if the memory she seeks is painful to her senses.
They were my husband's. He was a proud man, the last of his line. His family had been rich, a great deal of old money, you might say. They lived in that castle you might have seen to the north. Its location upon that island is evidence of how much they valued their privacy. He was a good man, my husband. He took care of me. Certainly he had his strange habits. Most men do, if you would pardon me for saying so. I suspect that he practiced magic, so I could never catch him in the act. He would frequently journey afar, taking that black cloak with him wherever he went, to places he would not talk about. He said that it represented something important to a certain group of people, and that I was never to mention it to anyone. But he was always there for me, always, until that fateful night. We had been married just over a year, and I was heavy with child. We were both out walking in the weirwood forest late one night. The air was warm, and in our youth we paid little attention to the world and its many dangers. Besides, there was a full moon. We could see clearly enough. A shadow passed over us. We looked up, thinking it might have been a stray cloud. It was not. Descending upon us like a demon was the largest, most hideous bat I had ever seen. Its fangs were bared, and it dove straight for me. I must have screamed. My husband flung himself in front of me to protect me. He swung his arms about frantically in hopes of warding the horrid thing away. Perhaps he was trying to cast a spell, but could not recall how in his panic. It paid him no heed and would not be deterred. It swooped again and again relentlessly. At one point, my husband's hand must have clipped the bat's wing because it lost control and crashed into his shoulder. He tried to wrest the foul creature away, but then he shrieked suddenly. The horrid thing had bitten him. He never did recover from that incident. He just faded with each passing hour. Within 2 days of the attack, my husband had died. We buried him on his family's plantation on the island. Sometimes when I sleep, I can feel him watching over me, guarding me, protecting me. I think he is waiting for my time to come so we can be together always.
The old lady seems to be dozing off. You can barely hear her final words.
I miss him so.
Telling the story has clearly taken a great deal out of her. You watch the old woman a moment and notice her labored breathing as she sleeps. Despite the little girl's tireless daily efforts, perhaps there's nothing more to be done. You get no response. The little girl is fast asleep. The little girl is sound asleep. Do not wake her.
Sister Agatha, my dear, tell me you have good news.
The king has arrived in Kalima, father.
That is not what I meant.
Yes. Well, he appears to be quite resourceful. It seems his reputation was not totally exaggerated.
He's still alive?
For now, but that will change soon, I think. The king has discovered that one of the gems he seeks is in the possession of a colleague of ours. Do you remember? Kaldor.
Yes. Is he still trustworthy?
Totally. Still sharp, and there's no questioning his loyalty. My humblest apologies, father, but would it not have been simpler for you to have dealt with Graham personally?
Fool! Imagine the ensuing chaos where Daventry's king murdered in his own land. How then would I be able to search for the item?
I see.
Failure is not an option.
Understood, father.
Keep me informed, preferably of good King Graham's death.
With a flourish, you fling the black cloak around your neck and fasten it. You are now wearing the beautiful ruby ring. The paper is of good quality. You read the Bible page again, seeking not well without night, sleeping while sun shining white. You feel the poisonous waters seeping into your skin. Its potency takes effect immediately, and you perish with it. The view and still. You can't use with a flourish. You are now. You read the Bible page again, seeking not well without night, sleeping while sun shining white. You read the Bible page again, seeking not well without night, sleeping while sun shining white. You read the Bible page again, seeking not well without night, sleeping while sun shining white.
Boatman, I need passage. I said...
I heard. The ghoul's voice chills you to the bone. It speaks with a deep, resonating bitterness. You cannot make out a great deal of its face, but what you can see has the hairs on the back of your neck standing on end.
In life, I would row this boat for the master. Long ago was my untimely death in these waters. but still, I remember many things. Laughter, tears, joy, pain.
May I cross, Sir Boatman?
You have come to raid the Master's house. This I know, but care not about. You should be warned, though. The Master is not what he once was. Never has this land known a kinder, more compassionate, and nobler ruler than he. But his fate has long since been decided. Down a dark path he now treads, and he feels naught for anyone nor anything, save for one other. And even that is a rare trait for a Nosferatu.
You freeze. Neither the Door of Destiny nor Neptune mention this count as being undead. The boatman accepts your payment and motions for you to climb into the boat. The shrouded ghoul paddles across the toxic lake to the shore on the other side. It feels grainy. After swallowing the magic sugar cube, you get a feeling of invincibility. The sharp thorns brush against your skin. However, instead of feeling intense pain, you only experience a slight tingling sensation. Evidently, the magic sugar cube did its job. As you approach the ghosts wearing the black cloak, they seem to notice you, and then begin to drift away towards the cemetery. Having an idea, you push the crucifix into the cross-shaped keyhole. It fits. You hear a click, and the door unlocks.